If you are racing on a single screen, listen up. There is a simple trick in any racing game to gain more control over your car and hit apexes and braking points more consistently. Today, we'll show you everything you need to know about the right field of view, or FOV, settings for your home setup. Is FOV a preference setting? There are racers out there that love a narrower view to see every apex and track detail as closely as possible. And of course, there is quite the opposite, with players deciding on a more open FOV to gain a better overview of their opponents and a greater sense of speed. There are racers out there who can't live without blurry trees flying past their peripheral vision, and we respect that. Some never touch those view settings in the first place and are just fine with what they got. But in the end, there is a correct field of view setting for everyone out there that can be calculated on a case-to-case basis. But why bother? What are the benefits from messing with the FOV? Just look at it that way. Your eyes are constantly taking in information from your surroundings, and everything you see is in a certain perspective. When playing a video game, your eyes look into the gaming world, and the camera chosen in the sim becomes your perspective of things happening on the screen. If the FOV is chosen incorrectly, your vision becomes distorted, and your brain has to adjust to the information you are feeding it with. Estimating speed, object sizes, and distance can get really tricky when the displayed information doesn't match the real world. Just think back to the 3D platforming era of games and those super hard to estimate jumps in Crash Bandicoot. You are basically doing this to yourself, only with the difference of making it harder to repeat perfect maneuvers on your favourite racing track. A correct field of view will help you to better judge distance, car movement, and overall speed. This will lead to better control, improved consistency, and in the end, hopefully to clean racing and faster lap times. So, this is the moment for all maths geniuses out there to step out of the shadows and show the world what they learned in school. Or for the rest of us to get a yardstick and measure two things to calculate the right FOV for your home setup. Before you start, make sure to sit as close to your screen as possible. The perfect placement of your screen is right behind your wheelbase, which will lead to a greater overview later. Okay, so now we need to find out the size of our preferred screen and the distance of our eyes to the monitor. As mentioned before, a simple yardstick should be more than enough to figure out all important numbers. The next step is to go to the link down below or use any other measurement website out there. This one is from Marcus Dynex86 Ewart, and is possibly one of the best and does exactly what it should do. So thank you, Marcus. Choose the right screen ratio and select the right screen size and distance of your use case. The tool will automatically spit out an impressive list of different games and what FOV settings you should select for your ideal ratio. But what about a living room setup where you sit really far from your TV? The table is now telling me to use an FOV of 20. Isn't that far too low? Well, yes it is. Of course, there is a limit to how zoomed in or zoomed out your FOV should be. When talking about a horizontal field of view, your minimum shouldn't be less than 45 degrees. It's always better to sit closer to your screen rather than losing too much information left and right that will not be displayed any longer. Also, a common misconception in this regard is that changing the seat position is the same thing as changing the FOV, because it's absolutely not. You see, changing the camera position in ACC, for example, will only change the positioning of your viewing angle and not the angle itself. Just look at this man. As the camera moves to the front, back, or in height, the size of the man stays the same. As when you change the FOV, you can clearly see how things get bigger or smaller according to the chosen angle. Changing the camera is therefore up to preference, while your field of view should be set once and then never touched again. Isn't that wonderful? Another step taken towards a truly immersive racing experience. The perfect FOV directly transmits you into your game and will help you make better decisions in heated situations and work consistently in any car and game combination. If you liked this content, check out our video about the fastest cars in ACC. And for more esports racing content in general, visit overtake.gg or our YouTube and other social channels. Thanks for having me, and until next time, cheers!